What's up, nerds? Welcome to a special trailer reaction episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power trailer from the mines of Moria to Rivendell and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, a minute and change. Well, no, it was a minute exactly on the nose
Yeah.
of some visually compelling footage that we just saw.
Yes, for sure. We've been waiting for this for a long time. We've been talking about it. We knew it was coming sooner or later. We started getting more information. We got those posters. We got a screenshot a couple months ago, like
Yep.
over the summer. Then we got the posters recently. We got some character descriptions. We got a plot description recently this past week. And lo and behold, we get a trailer during the Super Bowl. Welcome to everyone who's not watching the Super Bowl. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Odds are that if you don't care about the Super Bowl, you do care about things like Lord of the Rings. So you found a good place. You're in a good spot. So Steve and I, we're going to talk about Lord of the Rings in our regular episode, which we are still going to do tonight at 9:30. But we're going to, because we got the special trailer drop, we're going to do a special breakout episode for this. And we're also going to do right after this a special breakout episode for the new trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Holy shit. But we'll get there. Okay. Lord of the Rings. Yeah. A minute long, but we saw a lot of characters, and we know that there's like 22 or 23 main characters, 22 main characters in this show.
Yeah.
But we got 23 character posters, and I don't know that Sauron is really going to be like a character. I think
Right.
he's just going to be like the evil, dread kind of bad guy. So we know the show has 22 characters. We saw a lot of them in this. I don't know. My first reaction to this is, like you said, visually compelling. Honestly, as much as I enjoy Lord of the Rings and I'm interested in it and I love the books and I love the movies, my main reason for watching this show is that it cost so much goddamn money to make. I need to see what that looks like
Right.
on screen.
You now have to know what
Yeah.
$500 million looks like.
Yes, and I need to know I need to know what it looks like. I need to know that it was spent well,
Yeah.
I guess. And I need to know what they spent it on. And from this trailer, I can say, looks like they're spending it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it looks really good. There's definitely some wonderful, cinematography spanning hills and valleys and beautiful landscapes. There's also a lot of CGI stuff like monsters and other, kind of battle shots happening that are clearly CGI, but I mean, it looks like a movie. It doesn't look like a TV show, and like a lot of TV shows look like movies. But there's also a lot of great TV shows that still, when the CGI comes in, looks a little wonky, looks a little cartoony, little video gamey.
And I know I had talked in those character posters that things looked a little too clean, a little too or the shots. It was the shots from EW that dropped. Everything looked a little too clean, not lived in, any of that. The visuals from what we saw definitively looked like they took that attention to detail like they had in the movies. It looked like Middle-earth to me. Like, it wasn't a Middle-earth we've seen.
Yeah.
But it had that same, I don't know, texture and feel of Middle-earth to me. And that sold it. It was like, I need more of this.
I agree. I think they're kind of in a bit of a tough spot because those three movies are so popular, and the Hobbit trilogy, but they weren't nearly as critically acclaimed or visually spectacular, in my opinion, as the Lord of the Rings films. They certainly didn't win any Oscars. Though they're almost competing with themselves because, I mean, they didn't make the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but everyone knows those movies and is so familiar with those that if you went too far outside of the look and feel of those movies, I think you'd get a lot of backlash from people that either don't like it or weren't expecting it to be so wildly different. So they kind of have to make it their own thing while still hearkening back to the look and the feel of those movies. And I think this trailer did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, it seems to fit that bill. Like,
I mean, yeah. It also helps that they're not doing like we're not going to be at the Shire, or we're not going to be at the same locations and things like that necessarily. And if we are, they could be different parts of those locations or whatever. Like, there's workarounds.
And if you're doing it, you're also looking at those same locations 1,000, 2,000 years in the past. So
yes, exactly.
And I guess that's going to be a question of mine for the show is, are they taking the Second Age that spanned, X thousands of years and compressing the timeline down like they have in, various other entities, other, you know, you know what I'm talking about. Others, other works of art, taken a long timeline and chunked it down into something they can throw in a show. If they're doing it like vignette style, and hey, this is 1,000 years ago, this is 500 years ago, this is now, this is 100 years in the future. From whenever the story is being told, I could see it working, but it's going to be weird to see everything that over the course of the Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, and the rest of what Tolkien put out was spanning this long time frame. If they try and shove it all down into a small, tight timeline and tie it up with a bow, it might make things a little jarring, but it also may help for people that aren't willing to dive into those ridiculous amounts of tomes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's as good as they're claiming or they're making it out to be, as it's good as the trailer looks, then they would be smart to not crunch the timeline down, to let it play out as long as they have to play with, because it's going to be stories that they'll be free to tell new stories that don't bump into, Frodo and the gang or Bilbo and the gang, either one of those. So I mentioned earlier we did get some plot details this week that we were going to talk about in the main episode. Now we're going to talk about them here. So I'm going to read this kind of quote plus some like plot details, and then we're going to kind of compare them to what we saw in the trailer. So this is like basically two quotes kind of like mushed together, but we got a plot description of the series. The wicked god Morgoth has been defeated, and his apprentice Sauron has vanished. As the series begins, Galadriel is hunting down the last remnants of their collaborators who claimed the life of her brother. So she's out for vengeance on the death of her brother by Sauron and his crew. Then a little descriptor. The story follows 22 primary Rings of Power characters across multiple storylines, all leading to the creation of the rings and their after effects.
Yep.
So we definitely saw Galadriel in this, badassedly climbing up a snowy rock face with a cool golden dagger. I think we saw her once or twice in the trailer. She seems like they're kind of talking about her as if she's the main character, which I think would be cool. Of course, if there's 22 other characters, there's definitely going to be some episodes without her, I think.
Yeah. But at least with her and Elrond, there's an anchor back to things people know. So at least we have a tie.
Yes, and we did get confirmed that an actor named Robert Aramayo is also playing young Elrond. I believe we saw him in the trailer as well.
And hopefully young Elrond is not as horrible as young Sheldon. So here we go.
Yeah, hopefully. We also got Owain Arthur is playing Prince Durin IV of Khazad-dûm. I believe maybe we saw him in the trailer. I do think we saw a dwarf, if I'm not, at least one, if I'm not crazy.
Yep.
We saw some
at least one male and one female. So
yeah. We saw some like halfling type creatures, almost like a Pan was in that first kind of like reveal character. It was like a young curly hair, but with either ears or horns sticking out of the top of their head. I don't know. I've heard that there's going to be Hobbit-esque characters in this movie, like proto-hobbits almost. Like we're not going to go to the Shire. They may not be official hobbits to Hobbit-like characters that may be there.
Hobbit and Hobbit adjacent characters.
Yeah, exactly. Saw a really cool shot of a guy that looked like he was like catching an arrow that was being
the elf
shot at him and then turning it around and shooting it back. That was pretty awesome.
That was amazing. And we've seen him in a couple of different shots. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, I have no idea who he's playing, but they're promoting him very hard, so it seems like he'll be one of the front and center characters.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it looked great. Like I said, I thought the cinematography was great, because like for Lord of the Rings, again, to live up to what has come before, you need some incredible cinematography. You need engaging characters. You need wild visual effects. And from this trailer, it looks like it's got all of those things. So, I mean, what else do you need?
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty much all I have to say about the Lord of the Rings trailer. You got anything else to say about this?
No, I think it's a solid, like, it whetted the appetite. I think
For sure. It was definitely a teaser more than it was a trailer. Yeah.
Absolutely. And at a minute long, it was enough. Actually, you know what I do want to touch on? The score. Like,
yeah.
It really, I don't know if Shore is doing it. I have no idea. For 500 million, maybe they threw enough money at Shore to say, come do TV. But
yeah, maybe.
Like, it was very of that ilk. It fit, it felt great. And it didn't like feel out of place to be hearing that with, Middle Earth behind it. So
right.
Very happy to see that.
Agreed. All right. So if you are watching us live on Twitch, we should tell you that we're going to take a very short break. We're going to regroup, maybe rewatch the Multiverse of Madness trailer, and then we're going to come back with a recap of that trailer. Then we're going to take another break and come back with our full episode recapping the week's worth of nerdy news, everything that you know and love from the Multiverse Report in the style that we do it in. So give us about a minute or two. We'll be right back with a special review of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness trailer.
Yep. And for anyone who is just here for this, stay for more. Feel free to like, subscribe, do the whole 9 yards. You guys know the drill at this point. Everybody and their brother that has any sort of video show or podcast says it. But please subscribe. Let us know. Stick around for the rest of the live show. We'll be here till probably 11 o'clock because that's what we do.
Till we're done. We'll be here till we're done. Yep.
Come on in, talk some nerd news with us, and hopefully we'll see you around.
Yeah, awesome. So if you're listening on the podcast feed or whatever, do everything that Steve just said. And until next time, we'll see you around the multiverse.